Hey guys, Rick here from Rick's Car and Bike, and just leaving the dentist this morning, and gave me an idea for a video, and that's what I want to chat with you guys about today, and that's preventive maintenance. And you know, for a lot of us, we kind of put things off. You know, we don't rush in to get things done sometimes, and our cars and bikes are like that often. You know, you've had the thing for a while, you maybe don't value it as much as you used to, and you stick it in the garage, you put it away wet, you know, and you just neglect things, right? And that happens at times. And you know, being to the dentist, they always say the same thing: preventative maintenance. You know, taking care of your stuff. Because what happens, of course, is later on it comes back to bite you. You know, you might ignore things for a little while, and then you find out that you've got some real expensive fix. You know, and that happens when you don't take care of things. So, a good example in your car is, you know, your air filter. You don't replace your air filter. Well, what happens is, you know, simply over time it gets plugged up, and your gas mileage starts dropping. And, you know, for a lot of people, you know, that's not a big deal. You lose a mile per gallon, a couple miles per gallon or something like that. But in addition to that, you get some more sluggish performance. You know, the car doesn't accelerate the way it used to. The bike doesn't accelerate the way it used to. And, you know, if you leave that for very long, it adds up, you know, a few bucks here, a few bucks there. And over time, you know, you're wasting some money, right? All because you didn't replace that $20, $30, $40, $60 air filter. So it's one of the things you got to kind of take care of. One of the best examples, even better example, more expensive example, is what happens when you don't you know, change your coolant often enough. And thank goodness, you know, a lot of the coolants today are, you know, good for 5 years or even 10 years, extended performance coolants, which really helps us. You know, a lot of us car owners, we're not, you know, cleaning it out every 2 years the way we used to do if you really want to take care of your radiator. So again, taking care of your rad, doing proper rad service is very important. And you know, if you don't put in good coolant, that's another thing that happens. You don't put in good coolant, and your you know, your system really goes downhill. And I know people who will run straight water or something like that in their system, and then they wonder why they get corrosion issues and all kinds of things. I've even known people that try to put in, you know, 10, 15, 20% less than the recommended amount, and then the radiator ends up freezing, and they run into all kinds of problems. So it's a simple thing to do, that kind of maintenance on your car, even to just simply drain off your coolant every few years and refill it with the proper mix. You know, you don't even have to do the whole system. You know, just do it every few years. It's a simple way to do it. Oil changes are another one, you know, and again, there's some controversy around this because, just to give you an example, in the US I usually see them talking about oil changes every 5,000 miles. Well, here in Canada they talk about every 5,000 kilometers, so that's kind of strange why you'd have, you know, two different intervals like that for the same product in your car. You know, so you can argue about what the proper interval is, but the fact is that you do need to change your oil, and even more importantly, you need to make sure that your oil levels are right, that they're not, you haven't, you know, got some kind of leak and you've let your oil levels fall too low. Again, that's all part of the preventive maintenance that is so important with the car, and that's making sure that you check it. You know, check that oil when you fill up with gas. That's a common thing to do, or at least, you know, every month or so. Check your oil and see if you've had any oil loss. That really helps, you know, make a difference, right? So the other thing you can think about too is where your money's going when you're kind of buying some of these so-called performance products. And, you know, for a lot of people, you know, who are into cars and have been into cars for a long time, they will tell you, as I will, that you're wasting money on most of these products. Whether it's some kind of sealer in your car or some type of, you know, additive to improve the oil viscosity or so on. You know, you got to remember that most of this stuff falls under the category of snake oil, meaning that there's not any scientific proof that this stuff actually works. And if you look on the internet, try to find, you know, scientific evidence that shows that this or that product will extend the life of your vehicle, etc., and pretty much guarantee you won't find it. So again, be careful with stuff like that, because you can end up spending a lot of money on those products that aren't going to fix the problem. More often than not, it's a mechanical problem with your car that needs to be fixed. So, especially when engines get old and get worn out, really, you know, if you start putting big money into those things, you're really wasting your money and you're wasting your time. It's much better to look at getting yourself another vehicle. This is the best thing you can do in many cases. So, anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention is a simple thing like air pressures. You know, most of us are into cars. You know, we normally look at these things, and you can walk through parking lots and you can see cars that have tires that are just grossly underinflated. You know, you'll see them and they're like halfway to the ground. You know, and oftentimes, you know, that's a clear visual indication that tire is low. But a lot of times you don't even get that with the tire. You might barely notice it, but if you check it with a gauge, you'll find that the tire pressures are down, you know, 5 or 10 psi. And again, another factor in getting proper mileage or making sure that your car performs properly. Myself, you know, I go around corners in a car that's got low air pressure, and it's just a horrible feeling. Like when you're used to driving, you know, more of at a performance level, you notice these things a lot, right? Just like little clunks and things like that in your car. If you're putting on the brakes, you hear a clunk. You're accelerating, you hear clunks. Stuff like that you need to think about and find out, research, figure out how you got to fix this thing before something breaks. You know, the sound of brakes, the metal scraping on metal is another one too. You hear that sound, you know, don't wait, you know, 3 months, 6 months, you know, when you hear the brakes starting to make noise, which tells you that you know, the indicators built into your brake pads are letting you know that you don't have a lot of brake pad left. And so before it gets to the point where you've destroyed your rotors, and that's what will happen, those are the big metal discs on most cars on the front and on the back now. If you let that go too far, you're going to destroy those rotors. And where I live, anytime you go in for front brake or rear brake maintenance, if you want rotors and pads done, you're looking at $1,000 each end. And that's expensive, like, you know, and you can prevent that quite easily. And if you're a bit of a handy guy, do-it-yourselfer, you can easily do new pads on your brakes for under $100, you know, front or back, for that kind of price. So again, you know, pay attention to these things early, and you'll end up saving yourself a lot of money. Okay, that's a really big one. Another one is tires too, with tires and tire rotation. And the problem there is that if you got tires on the front of your car that are not being changed, what happens is the cornering forces on tires, doesn't matter which side, are wearing those tires faster. And so if you don't rotate them, then what happens is that your front tire is going to wear out much faster. And again, you're going to be into an expensive replacement. Quite often, you'll end up wearing out the edge of those tires, and you know, maybe you're going to wear them out 25% faster, maybe 40% faster than what you should have worn them out if you would have rotated your tires properly. It's not expensive to go in and get your tires rotated. It's certainly easy to do it at home, for nothing. So that's another one to pay attention to. Don't let that go too long. You know, certainly, you know, 20,000, maybe at the most 30,000 kilometers. You don't want to go beyond that. Rotate those tires, and you'll find that they'll last a lot longer. And you'll also even the wear of the tires, because depending on the car you're driving, if it's rear-wheel drive and you're driving fairly quick, you'll wear those rear tires out probably faster than the front. On the other hand, if you're driving a front-wheel drive car with the engine and transmission, all that weight is up front, then what's going to happen is you're going to be wearing those front tires out faster. So again, make sure that you are attending to these maintenance items on your car. Don't wait. That's where you get into real trouble, and it ends up costing you a lot more money with some of these preventative maintenance items. And the last one to think about is, also your driving style. If you're the kind of person that, you're a stoplight drag racer, you just go hard from light to light, you're accelerating hard and braking hard because nobody can time lights that well, and lights are usually set up for you to drive at a reasonable speed. So if you're that kind of person driving like that, again, you're going to put far more wear and tear on your car, right? And that includes, city driving. Again, if most of your driving happens in the city, again, you're going to be stop and go. So you're going to burn more gas, you're going to put more stress on all parts of your car, and it's not going to last as long. Versus if you're a highway driver and can just cruise along the highway at reasonable speeds, again, your car most likely is going to last far, far longer. Some people would say you can get double the life out of your car if you're doing mostly highway driving compared with city driving. And the other thing to think about is type of fuel. Again, if you want to save money, and you're interested in something that more fuel efficient. Obviously, getting a smaller car with a smaller engine can be better for you. But the big thing is driving style. Don't drive as fast, and think about the fuel you're putting into your car. Most cars today, again, your ignition timing and everything is computerized. So that means that you don't need to use premium fuel in your car. You just don't. Regular fuel is absolutely fine. Many cars I've driven, I've used regular fuel, absolutely no problem. Again, the only difference is a slight decrease in performance, which in most vehicles today, unless you're redlining and driving in the performance area of your car, up and around over the torque peak and into the horsepower peak, you're not going to notice the difference of a few horsepower in your car. So another suggestion there is, again, don't waste money, use regular fuel, and save your money. And in some cases, you'll find you can get better gas mileage. That's one of the cars I've owned. In fact, this Volvo I'm driving now is I get about 10% better, 5 to 10% better fuel mileage by running regular fuel as compared with premium. So there you go. I've tested that over thousands of kilometers. So there's a number of things you can do, again, to prevent costly breakdowns in your car, and those are just some of them. Anyway, I hope it helps you out. I hope you guys can get the car you want, keep that car running, keep it on the road, and enjoy it as much as you can. And again, avoid these costly repairs, because who wants to go into a shop and pay somebody $140 an hour to do maintenance jobs? And if we can prevent those by doing the work we need to do, that's awesome. So, hey, have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, share it with all your people on social media, so I can keep turning out some videos that hopefully help some people. And that's the goal. If I can help even one or two people, that's the goal. So if you have any comments, any other good tips to preventative maintenance tips or ways to save some cash with your car and any car jobs you're doing, let us know in the comments, okay? And we'll catch you next time. Take